Hey everybody, good afternoon. Thank you for your patience. We are TTRPG the talk show. So I am here today with a special co-host because unfortunately Reese is unavailable today. I'm Nikki. I use she, her pronouns. I am an educator, an LGBTQ and disability advocate for teachers, as well as the co-creator of TRPG. And so we are here today with Mo. So Mo, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Mo. I go by they, she pronouns. You can find me on all the socials at Serena Bezos. I'm a tabletop content creator, meaning that I run actual plays and live streams on podcasts. I am a writer. I do sensitivity work. I talk about tabletop RPGs a lot. Yes, I do. I do a lot.
That's awesome. And you really do. I was looking at your list of all of the things that you are running or starring in, and it is bananas. I like when I interview you, I have some questions about how you organize your your schedule. But let's go ahead and bring on our first guest. Um, and Celeste, also known as Dr. Tawdry, has a PhD in film studies. She focuses on captioning adult films and Paddington Bear. She has a lovely buffet of mental and physical illnesses and has strong preferences on types of ice. Um, when not performing burlesque, she streams games and writes about blue eyeshadow. And I did wear blue eyeshadow today in honor of Celeste. And you are on screen, and we are ready to get into this interview. So whenever you're ready, Mo, go ahead.
Yeah. So, hi, Celeste.
Howdy.
Yeah. So the question is, what does strong preferences of types of ice
Yes.
mean to you?
Thank you for starting with the most important aspect of my personality. You have to use the right ice for the right drink. And I think we all know that the crunchy, like cylindrical ice is the best ice. And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
like the one with like the little, like it's like a just like a tube, so you can like almost use it as a straw sometimes.
yes.
Okay.
Or have you ever been to Sonic?
Oh yeah, the
crunchy ice, that is, we all know, is the superior type of ice. The only other acceptable kind of ice, if you're drinking a drink that needs like the big round ball, and anything else is subpar.
See, okay, so I'm gonna be the odd one out here. Is I don't like ice in my drinks at all. I think they water down drinks for me, and like they just, when I drink from the cup, they hit me in the teeth, and I just can't.
Yeah, I have strong preferences. I don't actually use ice in my drinks either, but when I do,
when you do, they have to be these specific ones, exactly. And I respect that. So you said, but like whenever like I'm out at a place and they don't give me a straw and they just put ice in my drink, and I'm like, okay, well, meh. You know, I need to do that. Yeah. I need to actually do that because I have metal and silicone straws that I use all the time at the house. Just I don't bring them with me. I have to get one that fits my fanny pack because all I have is a fanny pack right now. It looks like Nikki, you prefer the tiny ice marbles. Is that right?
Thank you, Reese, for pointing out that I was muted. What I was saying when I was unmuted that they could hear me but y'all couldn't was that I almost exclusively drink my drinks with a straw, whether I have ice or not. And I absolutely, in chat, I was saying as a neurodivergent person, I do have strong preferences for ice as well. And if I can't have a straw, I do not want ice. And if I can't have a straw, then you're going to have to live with the fact that my lipstick is now going to be on your cup. I shouldn't be because I can see the mic moving.
And I can see the
Oh no, I'm good
captions
now.
happening.
Okay. Phew. And I was like, if you can see the captions, it means it's working. And so, also, let me put that in chat that there are captions. So yeah, so what was I saying? Oh, ice. So the Sonic ice is that like marbly and what you call crunchy. I can't chew on it because it hurts my teeth, but it's that marbly ice. I love that with like Powerade, slushies, like any kind of fruity juice kind of stuff. I love that kind of ice, especially because I find Powerade not watered down to be too strong, and so I love to drink Powerade with like crushed ice. And then with other drinks, like you said, some drinks require the big ice because you don't want it to melt too quickly. And Reese is correct. With iced tea, I like big chunky ice with my iced tea because I like it very cold and I don't want to water it down. But anyway, so that's my preference. So that's why that's why we wanted to ask you about it, because it's relatable.
I'm sure this is the most riveting start to any of your interviews, is just ice talk.
I mean, like, if some people have strong preferences, it's like, well, you know, there's a debate about something, and like ice being like a thing that a lot of people like have specific things. It's totally true. Totally true. Like, I just can't even in my iced tea. I don't care. Like, I'll have it at room temperatures. I'm just like this water has been sitting out since like this morning. There's no ice in it whatsoever. I don't do it. All right, so let's move past the ice debate and move into, and I just read this and I was like, wait, what? What drew you to studying captioning in pornography? That's just like, that's great that you're doing it, because you know even pornography needs captions. B, that's just like, oh my god, why not? Yeah. So
I my entire body of work is not just for adult film, but a large portion of it is. And so I started looking at closed captioning. I use closed captioning for everything. I'm not currently deaf or hard of hearing, but it's something I consume a lot. And as a hearing person, I often notice the differences between the sonic information and the way it's written in captions. And so being able to use that position to start saying, what are the sort of rhetorical choices that are happening in closed captions? So I actually started looking at the way people of color, specifically Black actors, are miscaptioned at significantly higher rates than their white counterparts. And so I've watched hundreds and hundreds upon TV shows, movies, and that really got me to start thinking about different kinds of media that would benefit from closed captions. And when I was doing research was actually at the same time that Pornhub released a closed caption category. And it was getting a lot of like press attention that was mostly like jokey. Whereas like I was sitting here and was like, oh my gosh, yes, everybody, like any way that people can experience pleasure and intimacy and all these sorts of things together, like why wouldn't we want that to be more accessible? And I use pleasure not just in a sexual way, but people consume erotic or pornographic media or adult media for all kinds of reasons. So I definitely don't want to like pigeonhole that by any means.
definitely, yeah.
And so I went through, they had 458 videos to start with, and I watched every single one of them to find how they were being closed captioned and read all of the comment sections. And I got a great apple pie recipe. And I like to tell people that because it was like about as much as a nightmare as you would think some of those comment sections would be, but at the same time,
of all the things to have in a comment section, apple pie recipe. I love that. That's
yes.
Was that a good video, or like, no, I won't get it dive in, but I'm like, was that worth an apple pie like one? Like, is it?
You know what? I don't even remember which video it was attached to. I was like so into the, but it really sort of spurred this idea of like, one, how limited are our ideas of pleasure that people like were making fun of it. Like, have you never heard of literotica? Like, have you never heard of fan fiction? Like, people read and get pleasure from written descriptions a lot. And honestly, like anytime we can make things accessible, it winds up benefiting everybody because it frees us from, in this case, I would argue it frees us from the idea of like, what is normal ways of experiencing pleasure. So it didn't necessarily start out where I was like, I'm going to be the person who gets invited to talk about closed captions for porn everywhere. But now I'm that person, and I feel very strongly about that. And I hope that it keeps expanding and pay for your adult media and demand that your adult media is captioned.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Exactly.
And audio descriptions too.
I'm the type of person, I don't know, because I'm still not diagnosed and I'm still learning like things, but I have to have captions on no matter what I'm doing now. So also I realized captions existed in porn, so remember to self if and when I get a whimsy. Like
it's really, that's the other thing. It's like a lot of people ask me, you know, my work isn't, while I hope that it is in line with, and, you know, I'm in conversation with deaf and hard of hearing advocates and activists, a lot of people use closed captions. So it matters that we're thinking about the choices, about the kinds of language we use, the accuracy. And it's one of those things that I actually think that film can look to video games. Like video games have had, dialogue has been an integral part of video games for significantly longer than they have in some ways in film. Film started out having intertitles. Those would be like those title cards.
Yeah.
Because if anybody's wondering, my PhD is in film, not specifically captions. But film, like, you know, sound came and they got rid of it. Like, you know, language on screen, whereas video games has always kept it.
Yeah.
So why aren't we learning from them?
Exactly. And so like whenever, for example, one of the things that I really like pointing out in media is whenever A Quiet Place first came out and they had captions pretty much the whole time in that movie. And it's just like, this is so good. Like why can't we just have this for all movies? Like, okay. I and that's me just diving off the subject a little bit, but I'm like, I just like, I feel you. Like it's great to have that extra accessibility just because it does free you. Yeah, it's okay. Yep. All right. Okay. All right. So Nikki was talking about, you know, she was wearing the blue eyeshadow for you, and I was like, wait, what is this? So what is the first thing that inspired you to work with blue eyeshadow? Like how did we get to this blue eyeshadow phenomenon that's going on?
Yeah, so I'm trash. And I say that in like a loving way, but also like in a growing up, very much being called that, in the sense that like, so the majority of my family didn't get past 7th grade. So I'm a first generation college student. A lot of my family lives in motels and hotels and you know, are considered trash by a lot of people and stuff. So I've always been kind of interested in like, what is it? Like, what is that? And I remember growing up being told blue eyeshadow was trashy. Only trashy women, and I'm using women because that's what was used, although anybody, please, everybody should wear blue eyeshadow. And I just became fascinated, like, why is, like, I love blue eyeshadow. Is it just the trash in me that is particularly drawn to it? And so, yeah, like I was just so into figuring this out. And it has this weird connotation at the height of like high fashion, like on runways and the first Barbie, like all these like super feminine high fashion things have blue eyeshadow.
Yeah.
The first Barbie has blue eyeshadow. But at the same time, you have like Mimi from the Drew Carey show. And you have like all of these other things. So I started sort of tracking, and I have over 1,000 examples now. And I also was interested in how did blue eyeshadow become so synonymous with sex workers and strippers, and like, where did this come from? And so I started tracking it. And so I have like over 1,000 examples of blue eyeshadow in film and media now. And I can tell you that whenever animations really want to like sexualize a character, they will put blue eyeshadow on her. And it's just like this fascinating phenomenon that I am just like, nobody asked for this research to exist, but it literally is just me all night scrolling the internet looking for blue eyeshadow.
But it makes you so are you like in a way like reclaiming that power, or like and just like staying like, you know what, you may have all these media assumptions, but I'm wearing it because I want to, or like
I like what I like. I think and I found this even when like I was doing like my PhD and stuff of like, I don't know. I am too tired and don't have enough spoons, honestly, to perform anymore. Like the mess that is, and all of the things I like about myself, all the things I don't like myself. Like I can't do it anymore. I can't mask. I'm too tired.
No, def.
So yeah, I was just like, you know what? I like blue eyeshadow. I'm going to start wearing it as much as I want. And I think like, as you're seeing again, like just really trying to like push people to like free themselves of any sort of limitations they're putting on themselves. And I've really enjoyed, so my DMs are mostly people sending me selfies of them wearing blue eyeshadow, which I love, or asking first they ask for consent of sending me still images from porn and captions. So I have like the world's funnest DMs. So yeah,
that sounds so good. And I guess, moving from blue eyeshadow, you see a lot in, I guess pornography as well, but like not really exactly overlapping. Burlesque with the teasing and stuff. I enjoy viewing it. I think Nikki, you said you like going to shows, right? Are you here, Nikki?
Yeah, sorry, I have to unmute myself in two places.
Okay.
Yeah, I love going to burlesque shows. The most recent one I got to go to was not really a burlesque show, but it was Ben de la Creme's Halloween show in Seattle.
That sounds
and
like a delight.
Oh god, it's so much fun. But there is a there is a burlesque element. That one of the characters in that show is a burlesque dancer, or one of the characters is played by a burlesque dancer, and it's meant to be a burlesque performance. And she's just gorgeous, and everyone is just so beautiful, and I've always been a girly girl, and so like the glamour of it all, and like last night at the wedding I went to, there was a girl who was a burlesque dancer, and she was just gorgeous. She like had the whole Marilyn Monroe thing going on. It was like the hair and everything, and I was just like, I'm just fascinated. And then I'm also gay, so like obviously I'm like, ooh, boobs.
Is it are you like, oh yes, gay? Is it like I'm gay because boobs, or like is it like, oh I love this aesthetic because of the boobs, or I love it because of the burlesque, but are both, or anything?
I'm like, I love the fashion, I love the glitter, I love the rhinestones and the feathers,
just checking
and
all the boxes,
and the like I love all of that part of it. I love to dress up like that. I would do burlesque if I wasn't a teacher. I just don't want to deal with the drama of if I tried to do both at the same time. But then I'm also gay. So it's like, femme brain is like, ooh, pretty. And then lesbian brain is like, ooh, boobies. So like, I'm going to be honest, it's both.
Yeah.
Why not both?
And all boobs are good. So it's just like, whoever does it, I'm like, yes.
I like how you were sitting, you're like, all the glamour. And so the reason my Twitter name is Dr. Tawdry is my burlesque name is Mrs. Tawdry Hepburn. And for anybody who doesn't know, Tawdry means cheap and classless. I do a burlesque number as a giant can of cranberry sauce. So you're talking about like the glitz and glamour, and I'm like, yes, my cranberry sauce can is quite.
And I do love the comedy too. Like comedy and burlesque really do go well together, especially since like one of the things that we do with femme presenting people is over sexualize them, and I feel like adding in that comedy really breaks down that stereotype.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So I started doing burlesque and immediately went to a lot of like campy things because that's what I really liked. And I did actually have to ask myself at one point, am I only doing camp and comedy because I'm uncomfortable with presenting my fat body as sexy, or I'm very like butch in my real life. And am I concerned that can I carry off sensual? Like, is there too much of me to be sensual and light. And I tried, and some things worked and some things didn't. But that's one thing I love about burlesque is the empowerment to explore what does it mean to occupy this body. And so I was a co-producer with Cat Attack, who has been on this show, Avalon, and we were co-producers of a queer burlesque troupe, which was just fantastic. I mean, getting tons of queer people on stage together to like explore all facets of life and gender performance was just pretty amazing. And then, 2020.
Yeah, the panini, the panorama, whatever it is.
So, are you familiar at all with the Seattle burlesque scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
Slightly. I probably should. So I don't live that far from Seattle. So I should get to know a little bit more. And what's happening?
So the person I wanted you to take a look at and like check out their work is Mix Pucks Aplenty. So we did a promo with them during our City of Mist campaign that we had started on the old channel I was on, and they are a queer, non-binary, fat black person doing burlesque, and is just amazing. Like, the looks are impeccable, and I'm noticing that like people like that are really getting pushed to the forefront, and as a fellow fat person, like, I know that feeling of like of trying to be funny to cover up for like being sexy, and so like I can totally relate to that. But I'm seeing more and more like amazing fat femmes on TikTok doing their burlesque performances or showing off their burlesque performances, getting top billing in burlesque shows, and it makes me so happy because everyone is sexy. Like, if you feel sexy, you are, and so I feel like that relatable.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. I love seeing burlesque expand its definition of who belongs on the stage. I'm friends with a lot of other people who there's a burlesque troupe called Disabilities, and it's all performers with disabilities. It's just really great. And then the expansion of, nerdy and like fandom RPG, like I
very
love
niche sort of,
like super niche
and
topics.
You're like, only like 5 people get this, but the people who get this will love it.
And I love that. I love people are just like, I want to do this because this is what I want to do, and it's fun.
Yeah. And there's actually a plus size positivity burlesque dancer down here in Austin that I truly enjoy and follows. She actually hosted the whenever the what was it? Magic Mike had like the second movie came out, the boylesque happened. So it was basically like male burlesque, but really it was kind of like stripping. I don't know, like there's not that there was not there was some like fun QT elements with the teasing and whatnot, but yeah. So she hosted that, and then started following her after that. But it's just following her work and how she keeps like doing her stuff like during this whole panorama. It's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But speaking of burlesque, is there been like a favorite costume or number that's like really stands out to you that you've done?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my
big cans.
my cranberry sauce number is pretty ridiculous, and I love it quite a lot. I occasionally do burlesque as a cowboy who does really bad magic. Like, it's magic tricks where it's very obvious with the like how it was done. I'm trying to think of other ones that I've really enjoyed. I do a Golden Girls number, but it's to all my, so every time it says, and the card attached says, it just cuts to different songs about fat asses that I really like. Those are some of my more.
That sounds so good.
Those are, and I do it as a giant flamingo. Those are probably my like favorite numbers.
I love that. Is it like a flamingo floaty, or is it like a whole bodysuit flamingo?
It's
thing?
I I have like a giant ridiculous headpiece. There's
Yes.
a flamingo and then
Okay,
like a
okay.
feather corset. And then I have feather wings.
Mhm.
And I do it to Mambo number 5.
The perfect song. That
Yeah.
sounds like it's the perfect
So,
song.
those are probably some of my more favorite ones. I also do the Hogwarts Express and I give out candy to Kylie Minogue's Locomotion. That's another.
Oh God, that's just
Right, it's pretty high.
So good. So you're from what I can tell, then you're a nerd, and you're a tabletop nerd, right? We just met, so
Yeah.
like I'm just asking these questions. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Burlesque was to be a tabletop RPG, what is something that absolutely needs to be included? Like, what would stats be like if we were to mix the two together?
First of all,
Uh-huh.
I immediately need to message Avalon and we need to make this happen. This needs to be. I have never been more excited by a question in my life.
You're like, is it like just the brain
you?
just is flowing now?
Oh my God. You would have to like, first of all, do you have to collect rhinestones to power up? Like,
okay.
So for your costume, like, do you have to have?
So I know a lot of like I do a lot of gaming stuff. So that sounds like a lot of I think it's either belonging outside belonging styles where you do certain actions and you collect tokens. Yeah. So maybe for y'all it'd be gemstones.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a GM system that can be GM'd, but like, yeah.
Yeah. Or I mean, wow. And like do different costumes. Like, I mean, the stats for different kinds of costumes of like, I mean, and then could your weapon be feather fans? Like, can we have that happen?
Yes.
And I mean, I don't usually wear heels I purposely do numbers. I can be barefoot because my feet need to be free at all times.
I can't fit into regular heels, so I understand that.
Yeah, no, thank you. But like, could your heel have a weapon? Like, I don't have an answer. Heels are
mostly weapon on their own, but yes, they could.
So in other words, I don't have a great answer for this, but I am so excited by this answer. And as a group, can you do group choreography in a combat system?
Yes, it's called team moves.
See, we need to do team moves.
Yeah. Which is like very like a
to Mambo number 5.
And like, yeah.
So Reese and I are actually writing a pageant TTRPG because Reese is a pageant producer, was the first Black and Latinx Miss Thurston County in Washington. And so we're writing a pageant TTRPG, and there's no fighting. It's just you're competing in the pageant, and I have so many ideas about what the characteristics are being and the attributes. So what do you think are attributes or like skills that burlesque performers have to have?
Okay. A good, like, I don't want to say it's not necessarily athleticism, but you have to have a good sense of your body. Like, you have to understand how your body moves, how you walk, where your body is when you do certain movements. So you have to be very spatially aware and very aware of your body. But that doesn't necessarily mean being like, I'm sure not athletic. But I have a very good sense of rhythm. I know how my body can move comfortably. I know what looks good when my body moves certain ways. I would definitely say that. Charisma, high. Your ability to like lock eyes with people. Yes, body dexterity, I think, is the perfect way to phrase that. Yeah, definitely charisma. I think so. Green rooms or backstage can be a real interesting place. So also your ability to either quick wit, like cut back with your words, or just be so nice that nobody wants to like be mean to you. I don't know what that would be, but it's a skill that really helps backstage.
Yeah. Well, and there could be different playbooks too. So you could have like the comedy person and the like ultra sex pot and all that stuff.
Or the one who just is the gossip, or like, because you know,
Yeah,
there's
you always
always
have
something
one.
happening in community, and they know everything about
Stage
it.
manager as a
Yeah.
playbook. The costume designer is a playbook. Like, there's so many
Mhm,
options.
You also
Yeah.
have the person who like is they're so much of a diva, and like everybody puts up with it because they're pretty good, but they're not really as good as their diva attitude would justify. Like the justification levels happening here are not not quite. Oh, I love that. I'm currently playing in the tabletop, the game I'm currently in right now. I'm playing a Triton character, Gladiator, with a Valley Girl personality. And so just getting to be like completely like super like femme and kind of ditzy, but also like the world's strong, like I'm the tank of the group, is like the
Nice.
world's funnest thing.
Which system is it?
No idea.
Oh, you just play the game. You don't know.
Yeah, I'm just playing
I love that.
whatever our like GM says. I'm like, great, cool. That's what we're doing.
That's so good. I love that. That is all the questions I have.
Awesome. Do you
yeah.
want to plug anything in particular, Celeste, or anything you wanted to?
I want to plug demand accessibility, even if you don't benefit from it. Pay for your adult media. And if you want to follow the weird things that I do, Dr. Tawdry on Twitter, or Mrs. Tawdry Hepburn on Instagram. I forgot the other app that people use. And then I am on Twitch, and I play Nancy Drew games and Thief and Oblivion badly as Siebert the Seal, which I don't know why I went off brand for that, but I did. So, and that's my stuffed seal I've had since a baby.
Aww.
His name is Siebert. So
That's so cute. Well, I did link in chat. I did put your Twitter so people can follow you and figure out everywhere you are. Thank you so much for being here. So awesome. We are going to bring Katie on. Katie is one of the most kind-hearted people that I have ever met, and a very talented musician. She's Katie Quixotic everywhere she wants you to find her. And so whenever you're ready, Katie, you may go ahead and play.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Yeah.
I just want to take a second to say that, like, I didn't know that I was being brought on in the, like, captioning neurodivergent, like, sex positivity, like, version of the show, but this is, like, the best possible place for me to be, and I just really appreciate
Hello, welcome. You found your people.
The episode that I'm here for. So, I'm Katie Quixotic, as they said, and I do parodies. So you'll probably recognize the actual song that this is in relation to. Also, I'm not super great at the ukulele, so don't expect a whole lot. Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these weeks we'd like to meet. I'll do a recap of everything. They said at least I'd have more prep time, but I ain't done much prepping. Hello, can you confirm, please? I'm in the California time zone. Is that too late for Eastern? Wish we were younger and more free. I've forgotten how it feels to fill a new character sheet. The scheduling differences between us might make me lose my mind. So hello, y'all, I've missed you guys. I'm so ready to roll some dice. And I'm so sorry for all the travel I've done. But I promise the next few months I'll be home. I tried to scroll and it didn't work, so now I have to scroll. I'm sorry. Hello from the outside. I swear I've clicked 1,000,000 times, but it's not working. Can we just switch to Zoom? Don't worry, the road's late. I'll just put up a room while we wait. Hello, how are y'all? It's so typical of them to get off work late. I'm so sorry. I hope you're rolling well. Did we ever make it out of that town, or did something happen? It's no secret that this group of ours, it might be running out of time. Sorry again. Hello, y'all, I've missed you guys. I'm so ready to roll some dice. Hey, did anybody ever hear from our rogue? When I call, they never, ever pick up their phone. Hello, y'all, can we decide who gets what loot and resupply? And I hate to say it, but it's getting late. Should we schedule our next game? We can pin down a date while we wait. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh god, that's so true.
So relatable.
Especially the time zone thing. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was like, what parody do I write for a show about TTRPGs? How scheduling is the true big bad evil guy of all games.
Yep.
Well, and so Katie and I play any game together, and it is that. Like, I'm like, okay, so I'm not available till 6 p.m., but I know that we have some people in Central, so is that too late at night?
I thought of you when I wrote that line. Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Awesome.
gosh.
So Katie, what ends, like, obviously this time you thought about our show and thought, okay, what am I gonna do? But what else inspires the music that you write?
So I'm also a neurodivergent person. I have, among other things, ADHD, and I was only diagnosed a few years ago as an adult. And my entire life, I actually couldn't sing when I was a kid. I had trouble matching pitches, and my mom was a singer, and I eventually developed this over time. And one of the ways, even though I was mostly an instrumentalist at first, that music tended to present itself within me was like almost like compulsively not being able to not sing a lyric when someone says it, or to think of like a funny way to rephrase something that was like obviously close to a song lyric that had to do with something someone said. And I was really a huge fan of like Weird Al style parodies when I was a kid, and it just kind of like all morphed into this ball of me like almost obsessively writing parody songs. Like I'll just like, when I would have to drive to work in the full times, that would be one of the things that would happen is like I would hear a song and it would get stuck in my head, and then I would just on my drive home from work have already like rewritten it to be like relevant to something else in my life. And TTRPGs helped me channel that, so it wasn't quite as like overwhelming to the people in my life, so that I could play these bards and I could write these parodies and I could kind of like get it out of my system. But it's funny because then I received my diagnosis a few years ago and I started getting treated for ADHD, and now somebody can say a lyric and I don't have to actually sing it, and I don't have to write the songs, but I still enjoy it. So it's kind of like a mishmash of not understanding myself and exploring music and the like musical influences I had, which are wild because it ranges from like literally like Weird Al to Josh Groban to whatever. And yeah, it just kind of became like a core facet of who I am as a person.
I adore Weird Al. I think he's a great person. He's a great entertainer. I think he's very clever. And I think you're very clever because to be able to, people don't understand that it doesn't just take being funny to write parodies. You also have to match the syllables and the pitch of the song and make that all work together. I love writing parodies as well. I, like, as a kid was always rewriting songs in my own voice and my own thoughts. So yeah, like what was that song? It was back in the day, like it was in like middle school. It was like, I'm a baller, shot caller. You know that
50
song?
inch waller. Na, 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 na,
Yeah, so we wrote that
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be about farming. So, because I'm from a small town in an agricultural part of California. And so it was, I'm a farmer, crop grower, 20-inch blades on my lawnmower.
I love that.
Grew up doing stuff like that. But anyway, I think that was actually one of the first things that we bonded over, was our love of parody. And yeah, I was like, if Katie lived where I live, we would be BFFs. And so glad
Absolutely.
that TTRPGs brought us together. So I'm going to bring Mo back on, and because one of our other guests isn't feeling well today and couldn't make it, I'm going to be asking Mo some questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, it's my turn. Okay, hold on, I'm here.
Okay. In my defense, they knew this was going to happen.
I did, but I was not prepared for the late. Okay, I'm here. Hello, I exist.
So it's great because I invited Mo to be the guest co-host when I found out that Reese was needing the day off, because I wanted Mo on the show, but we're basically booked for the entire rest of this year, and so now I have the opportunity to have Mo on the show.
Yeah, just squeeze me in now and don't ever think about me ever again. Like, you're just like, okay, cool, knock that one off the list.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. You're almost literally everywhere, and I love working with you. So that's never gonna happen. I'm gonna after Passion is over, I'm gonna find another way to have you on the channel.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely have to be back. Yeah.
Yeah. So what does your work in the TTRPG space mean to you? Like, why did you get into this community and get into TTRPGs?
Well, I got into to have fun, and then I got asked by a friend to join this podcast, and so I did, and now I'm using. Oh God, I don't even know. Like, I guess using my abilities and my platform to like help promote others. Honestly, I think I'm at that point where I'm like, I'm everywhere, but you know what? I could, there's this game that's being designed by the smaller designer that's been POC. Here, let me tell you about it because I want other people to like know about these awesome games and awesome people that are designers and stuff like that don't never get recognition. That I'm like,
awesome. Well, absolutely. In your like recent TikTok, you talked about a bunch of different games, and
it's what I do a lot, especially with Utopia Game at a Glance. So like that was just like a small like truncated version of that.
Yeah, tell me anything. Any game you want to talk about. I'm ready to listen.
But that TikTok that you're talking about, though, is because there's a lot of controversy on the TikToks about playing a person of color in the RPG realm, and a lot of people of color are like, in that realm. We're like, hey, as a player, please don't do that because you're not critically thinking like why you're doing that and so on and so forth. And I was like, listen to them about that. But in the meantime, I want to tell you about games that are designed by people of color that they invite you and like want you to play from their perspective. Because there are games that exist like that because people are like, oh, then how does this get the perspective? I'm like, well, here you go. Here is a collection. So that's what I did for sure for that. So
awesome. And so your thought is, if you're playing a game that is written about a specific culture, it is okay for someone like me, who is white, to play a character of color, or is your thought that I should play a white character in that game as well?
No, they're inviting you to play in that culture. They're going to lay out like how you should perceive that culture, and like they actually like for Zhengqi, for example, like they tell you like, hey, this is what the rules are, this is what you to expect, and like they really could. Banana and Sinfung actually went really deep into it, and they've done such a great job. So, yeah.
Yeah, I actually got to playtest the Coyote and Crow game because a friend of mine is buddies with them and invited me to playtest that. And so they have very clear expectations about, like, you are playing a native character, but here is a list of things that you as a white person don't do in this game. And I loved that because I wanted to honor their culture by playing in this game, and the game is really cool, and I wish I could talk about it more, but I can't.
I know.
But it's really cool. It's such a good game.
It was one of the ones that I mentioned in my TikTok, and I was like, this is the one I really am excited about because it's written by First Nation designers, and I'm just like, yes, Indigenous representation, finally, like, without it being from a white perspective, because, like, those D&D Pathfinder games that are all written like, oh, check out like these places, and I'm like, those names are very European. Just, are you sure? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I agree.
So it sounds like that was one of the things that contributed to you joining the TRPG community is that there's not enough representation of people of color. Is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, pretty much. And then on top of that, being a mixed, being, my dad's Mexican and my mom's white, and being like sometimes white passing, it's a lot of people are in the same normal space that I am, that we're not enough and also too much, so no one wants to accept you. And I always find other people who fall in the same boat, and they always feel like that, like, oh, I don't want to feel like I'm just like another white person taking up the space. Like, do you have the cultural experience? Like, just because someone put too much, just because you look like you're white passing doesn't mean that you don't have the same experiences that other people like that your cousins may have gone through. Like, and so I'm always like, no, you are enough. Like, your experiences are valid, and like I try to be that supportive person because I've been through all that, and I asked myself all those same questions. So yeah.
I can relate as like a straight passing lesbian. I have had like very interesting experiences that are a bit different than others, and I think it's really important to understand that like there's no like, yes, there are degrees in which people experience oppression and marginalization, but you don't have to be a specific thing to understand what that feels like.
Yeah. And the same thing goes, like, like I'm also a femme-presenting non-binary person, and like I choose this route to be more of this because it's more comfortable for me. And yeah, it's just like, so when I, like, for example, for Utopia, people are like, oh, that's a space for people of color. I was like, bruh. Just because like you're half white and like half black, or like you're a mix of like Indonesian and like Chinese, just like you belong. Like, you've still experienced like these types of things, and get in there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a lot to have to juggle all of that stuff. Speaking of a lot, you have a lot going on.
Just a little.
So, like, how do you keep all of your things organized? You have such a busy schedule.
Google Calendar.
Okay.
If it's not on my calendar, it does not exist, and therefore, yeah. So one of the things that I've been doing a lot more professionally as a person who's running designs, and pro tip for anybody who runs stuff, and y'all do this, so I'm not going to say this to you specifically, send out Google invites. Whenever you're scheduling something, send out an invite to a calendar so everybody's on the same schedule. Yeah. Please and thank you.
I always do that, and then I felt bad because like I was moving the schedule and made this meeting early, and it accidentally deleted everyone. I felt so bad.
Oh no.
Yeah, and unfortunately Celeste reached out to me and was like, hey, is this canceled? I'm like, no. I just messed it up. And so yeah, so fortunately I was able to get that fixed rather quickly. But as a person with ADHD, I have a device I will not say the name of, because then it will try to talk to me in my office to remind me of things, because if I pick up my phone to like put on a timer, I'm going to get distracted on my phone and forget why I was doing a timer. I have everything on my calendar. I make our guests fill out a form so that I have all their info in one place. And it helps because I will forget everything. And I ask people the same question more than once because I've forgotten that they've already answered that question.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. I mean, I'm the type to over-organize just for my brain, because like it gets pulled in 5 million directions. So if it's not like in its box, it doesn't exist. Like I have apparently like scheduling object permanence. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist.
Bingo. And I feel so bad, and that's like why I had so much issue with scheduling Monster of the Week in August, was because I had 2 things that I was supposed to be on that I did not put on my calendar, but I knew I was on them, and I'm
like, I feel like
excited.
I'm doing something. Yeah, I've overbooked myself. There was one time I actually triple booked myself. So
no.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you managed to make it today.
Yeah. I'm
You
here.
are
I
so
exist.
busy. I've been asking.
I had back-to-back things today, so I was like, oh, this fits right in between these two things. Perfect. Uber eat some food. It'll get in between my other thing. Yeah, we're good.
Oh my god, I'm so worried about your burnout. Like, when is it gonna happen?
Honestly, I actually thrive on social interaction. So I'm an extrovert to the extreme. So like,
Me too.
like
Natural
I actually ran
extrovert.
2 games yesterday. One was for 2 hours, the other one was for 4 hours, and I was exhausted afterwards and like laying there. And I was on TikTok, and one of my new TikTok friends was like, "Hey, I'm in Austin, and I don't know how to do anything." And I was like, "Hey, you want to go grab dinner? Let's go grab dinner." Because like social interaction, I'm like, "Oh yes, let's do the things." Like,
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
as a natural extrovert, like it works out really nicely since I'm a teacher. So like
Mm-hmm.
I'm wide awake with the kids, and then as soon as I get in the car on the way home, that's when I start to get tired. But like I don't realize how tired I am because teaching is rough. But because I'm an extrovert, I don't realize how tired I am until I'm going home.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I feel you on that. Like if I'm interacting with people, like I totally like do not feel good right now, but I like to assume that no one can tell because I'm getting so much energy from you guys. So, I have one more question in the interest of time, and then we'll let Katie do another song, and then let Katie go because I know that she has stuff she has to do.
Yeah.
I watched you working on Kids in Capes the other night, and it was so cool to watch, especially since Reese and I did start talking about designing our own game. Do you prefer doing that kind of work with an audience or without an audience?
I think more of the thing is that I don't care because like honestly, I'm on camera pretty much in the next week 5 days out of the 7 in general doing game stuff. So like, and it's all Zoom calls. So like I can like watch a chat, whatever, but like I honestly don't care because we're kind of just trying to work within ourselves. So like if I was trying to do design work on my own, it takes me until like the deadline for me to get completed. So having them actually there makes me accountable to actually put in the work at a reasonable pace instead of being like, must do it all at once. Because if there's not a deadline, then I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll get to it eventually. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it was like I said, it was really cool to watch everyone's process, and I love watching collaborative work. And I died when you were like, "Can it not be 11?" So I'm like in the chat trying to suggest another thing to try to help you not have it be 11. I was like, it's too relatable.
I was just like, yeah, because they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna end off here. Like, this is enough questions. Like, no, why is it at an odd number? Are the other ones at odd numbers? No. Make it the same. Make it even, please, and thank you. Or make it 5 at least. Come on. Make it an even number, make it a 5.
Right. Right.
One or the other.
Oh, hi, Friday. Friday's in the chat.
Hi, Friday.
All right, so let's have Katie come on and do her other song, and then we'll wrap everything up. Normally, we would bring back everybody to do some questions, but we did start late because I was having issues with the tech. No problems there. Let me go ahead and we will transition Katie back over to do another song for us. Katie, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. So the first song I wrote specifically for the show, but this one is just one that I play on my stream a lot. It has to do with raids, so it's not specific to anything, but you might recognize the melody this one was written off of as well. Oh, hello there, are you raiding just for me? Pull up a chair, there's nowhere else I'd rather be than stream. From the very first day I shared with you, I love to be here, you and me, to light up somebody's life, to brighten their night. The feeling, no words, it sends me reeling. Together we'll make it through, and you'll be alright. My F's a little flat, sorry about that. My schedule doesn't exist, so there's no limit. You never know what I'll be doing. So click, click, click on the heart. Do it here too, cause I want you to stay.
Cute. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Love that.
Sorry, I was
Just-
muted. All right. Yeah, so I just said in chat, and I totally mean it. Like, I get big Steven Universe vibes from your whole thing, but especially when you perform, I just feel like they could throw you in as a character in that show. Easy peasy.
Oh my god, thank you. I love that. I actually so recently, I know that you are like short on time and I have to go
No,
soon,
you're
but
short on time.
well, yeah. After the latest Resident Evil came out and everybody was like all about Lady Dimitrescu or whatever.
Yes.
Everyone came in and they were like, Katie, can you learn Giant Woman from Steven Universe? And I was like, absolutely. And so I like just pulled it up on stream one day and played Giant Woman, and it was really funny.
I love that song so freaking much. I have a friend who does a really awesome Rose Quartz cosplay, and I always end up being her like handler at cons because she's a really popular cosplayer around here, and whenever I want her to wear that costume, I'll sing Giant Woman to her because she'll wear these like giant pink jelly shoes, and she's already tall, and she's busty and curvy and beautiful, and so I'm just like, all I want to do is see you turn into a giant woman. A giant woman. But yeah, I love that you learned that. All right, well, I'm going to transition back over so that Mo and I can do our outros. Is there anything you wanted to plug real quick, Katie? I'm sorry, I didn't even ask that.
No, it's okay. Like you said already, anyone who wants to find me can find me anywhere I want you to find me as Katie Quixotic. And I've been on a little bit of a streaming hiatus, but I should be starting back pretty soon. So if you're into Twitch and you like variety streams and like I do like chill, like I love like Stardew Valley type of games, and I'll do platformers, and sometimes we'll play like Fall Guys or whatever. We just kind of hang out and have a good time and you know, talk through what's troubling us with life a lot. So, big mom vibes. I'm like everybody's mom, you know, kind of
Relatable. And also unsurprising that you just have those vibes. All right, well, thank you so much. And we're going to just say our quick goodbyes, and then we will end the show. So thank you, everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much, Mo. You did such a good
Thanks for
job.
having me.
Yeah,
my first time
claps
hosting.
in chat for Mo for being our guest host. This is their first time as our guest host, and did such an amazing job rolling with all of this and being so flexible with all of the changes and last minute details that go into shows like this. Super appreciate you. Is there anything you want to plug? I mean, you're crazy busy, so
Yeah, like maybe in less than half an hour you can see me for Kahania on Utopia with our Monster of the Week campaign. And then on Monday I have Blades in the Dark, which is our final episode for that, with the No Initiative on Chromatic Chimera. Tuesdays, Fast and Los Pasiones here. And then Fridays, Kids on Capes. I had to look at my calendar because I also keep a calendar on the wall as well. I make sure it's all in here and then make sure it's on the wall so I can see it.
Yep. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for being on, and thank you everyone in chat. Make sure you check out that tea promo at Friday's website to get a great discount on tea, and tune in on Monday tomorrow at 11 a.m. I will be playing Stardew Valley with my friend Sim, who is the Simrelake on Twitter, and Tuesday we have Pasión de las Pasiones on this channel for Rosas y Pistolas. It's our last episode, so come check out the drama. And then and we're also raising funds for races on that one tonight. It might be on Clockwork Vines. I'm not sure what's going on with that today, but usually Sunday evenings I am on Honey and Dice's channel for a steampunk Call of Cthulhu hack that is so much freaking fun, and I go from this, which is high femme, to super butch boxer babe. So it's and I always cosplay as my character, so come check it out. Great. And hopefully we will see you all on Tuesday for Pasión. Bye, everybody.